Hey there viewers, welcome back to Troy-Bilt Trades. Today we're going to be working on a Troy-Bilt TB425CS string trimmer. You notice it says 4-cycle on here, huh? Found this thing in the trash. Looks like it needs a string rewound and maybe some cleanup. It's got the quick release handle on it. It's for changing out extensions, but it looks to be complete. First thing I noticed on it was the fuel lines are gone. There's a green one and may have been a brown one there. And then the primer bulb, if I push it, it's going to break. Well, let's go ahead and push it. There we go. Yep, primer bulb breaks when you push it. Then this right here is where the fuel lines would have gone in. Motor's not locked up, but it does have a significant drag to it when you're pulling on it. Now here's the cool part. Like I said, this is a 4-cycle, meaning it runs on unleaded gasoline only, or essence sans plum gasolina sin plomo. I don't know. So how does it get its lubrication? Well, glad you asked. There is a oil fill port right here, and yep, even a dipstick. So oil needs to be changed, and I'm thinking since we're already here and it doesn't take very much oil, let's go ahead and just put fresh oil in it so that if we do get it to run, at least it's got fresh oil starting off with. Didn't seem to hold very much, huh? Surely there was a better way to do that than holding up a 5-quart jug. Okay. It's mostly up on the dipstick. Got more than it had. Genuine factory parts. Can't really see much in there, so I'm not going to bother trying to show you guys. It's a really small motor. Tell you what we will do is check this thing for spark. Let me find a piece of metal here. Got a little metal right there. Maybe a little bit right here. You're not going to be able to see that. And if you can't see it, that means I can't see it. So we're looking right there. Let's see if we can get some spark out of this thing. It's already in the run position. It's one of those switches that automatically goes back there. Got a really good spark. Okay. Anyway, let's just throw a little bit of WD-40 down that cylinder. Probably should have done that before I started pulling on it. Just getting stuff lubricated. Okay, let's go ahead and put this back in. We know we got spark. It kind of felt like compression. I don't know, it was hard to pull. It's my favorite thing. A lot of times people say, oh, it's got compression. And you get there and it's just scored beyond belief. But it feels like it's compression because you're just pulling and it has resistance. I'm like, yep, I believe you. It's got some sort of compression. Doesn't mean the motor's good. Okay, this is a 4-stroke, meaning lubrication's coming from down there, which means that I can use regular gasoline inside this thing to check it. And you know what's funny about that? I've had people tell me that they use gum cutter like this. Can's almost empty. On a 2-stroke to see if it runs, because they claim that it has lubrication in it. And I don't know. I mean, this stuff just, it takes everything off. So I can't imagine it has any lubrication. But I don't know. You guys use this? Acetone, toluene, carbon dioxide. I mean, I don't think it's got any lubrication. I don't know. What do y'all do? Anyhow, let's see. Yeah, she runs. All right. Timing's good. Compression is good enough to run. I'm not positive it's great, but so we know we're dealing with a fuel issue, and I'm positive that my fuel issue is definitely the fact that I don't have fuel lines. Definitely smells like it ran too. All right. Let's see where the rest of the pieces are. Here's your duct bill breather. Basically that opens up and allows, when it has a vacuum, this opens up and allows air to come through. So the air comes through underneath this red cap and comes through here, and then this squeezes back together when it closes. Anyway. Let's see. Come on, pieces, come out of there. See, everything's just stuck in the bottom. There's another piece. Let's see. Now. Oh, hey, there we go. Still got one more piece in there. There we go. Okay, what are we looking at? Well, what I'm trying to figure out right now is which one of these is the supply and which one of these is return. And it looks like, it's really hard to tell, but it looks like this may have been the green hose, but it might be a brown one and discolored. So here's the reason I'm trying to figure that out. Coming off the carburetor, I have a brown hose, which was on the bottom. I have a green hose, which was on the top. I was trying to figure out which one was the pull and which one was the push. Anyway, I may not be able to figure that out so easy, so it might take the one line that goes down to the filter, I'll just keep it a little bit long, and the one that comes back to return, I'll keep it a little bit long. And when I figure out, when I press the bulb, which direction it goes, then I'll know, because I pull from, you're actually pulling from through the filter and you're returning back to the tank. There's another style which would have the filter, the primer bulb outside, and it would actually be pulling through the carburetor, through the primer, and then to the return. It's kind of doing the same thing. I just trying to figure it out ahead of time if I can. A couple T25s. Got a friend that needs one of these, so I need to keep the price somewhat cheap. See if I can get this thing fixed up. Carburetor should come right off. Let's keep that over there so we don't lose it. Alright, so the hoses are on the throttle adjustment side or also on the stamping side. The nipples are on the stamped side, or the marked side. That thing is really on there. Whew. Yep, super stiff. Doggone it. All right, we may try the brake fluid trick on that one. Wow. And we also might need to get this thing in a carburetor cleaner. Just to get it apart. Let's bring out the big guns here. There we go. Okay. Yeah, see all that fuel residue, corrosion, and it is just rigid as can be. All right. Well, we can put it into the carburetor cleaner, and we'll give it a try. But I need to buy a kit at a minimum. I've seen people put these in brake fluid before, and it gives some of the flexibility back, but it seems like after the brake fluid, because it makes it back to supple again, and as long as you are running a two-stroke, it continues to stay lubricated. But on these gasoline ones, straight regular unleaded gas, I don't think that they usually, they don't last. Let me try to find one of these kits or find the entire carburetor. So let me do some research and see what I can find, and I'll bring you back as soon as I have something. I do want to show you guys something here, right? So here's the entire carburetor. Claims it fits the 425CS. 1326, free delivery August the 27th, right? Here is just a gasket kit. $826, $5 delivery. So basically I'm at the exact same cost for just the kit, and August 28th through September 11th. When I talk about, not waiting for the gasket kit to arrive, It's not out of laziness, it's just out of sheer speed and cost. So here's one that'll be delivered tomorrow for 13 bucks. Wanted to clarify and keep you guys up to speed, let you know what's going on. So I'll be back as soon as I have some parts. And we're back. Little parts kit came in. Full. Anyway. All right, what'd they give us? A couple primer bulbs, new fuel filter, new carburetor, and a fuel line with a fuel filter already on it, a breather already on it, which we don't use because this tank, this cap replaces this. So we're not going to be using that. I see something else I don't like. The way this thing was packaged inside the box was like that. You'll see that crease right there? See that crease? And if I try to straighten it out, that crease kind of stays. So I would think they could have found a better way to loop this thing. Alright, so I'm going to keep the grommet and probably a couple pieces of the hose. But this hose here, this fuel line, is not going to get used because I got a feeling that kink will always stay. It's pretty formed in there. Let's compare it to what's left of this carburetor. So that would be that part. And then we had that part. Close. This comes off at a slight different angle. And you can turn them if you have to. I think it'll work. Came with a new O-ring for sealing up onto here. I do not see any new gaskets like this, which is fine because this gasket's actually in pretty decent shape. Actually, I do see another problem. See how that one's just a hole for this right here to go into? So I'll tell you what, we're going to pull that out. Because honestly, I probably could put it on there. You know what I mean? You know, just fish it down through there like that. I'm scared that it's going to throw off the distance. You know, so let's just go ahead and get that ring out of there. That little circlip. I mean, it's better than not having all the pieces I need, right? So, let's see, can I get it out without pulling this apart? There we go. Probably one of the most useful tools that comes off the tool truck for free. All right. Let's see. I don't know. That hole's actually quite a bit larger. I'm not sure I trust that. What we can do though, remember like I mentioned before, the gasket kit was the same price as the carburetor, so these should pretty much be interchangeable. Let's find out. Back out the idle screw so that I can reach this screw. Looks like an exact replica. And then this was probably about where that dirt line is. Maybe about there. We'll try that. I'm going to take this and stab it into that groove right there, into that hole. And then before I get too far, let's try to hold it in place and make sure everything works. Yep. Seems to work. And that O-ring meshes up with that. All right, one of the hoses is long and goes down to the filter. The other hose is short and just barely goes into the tank. I can go ahead and build those, just make them long enough to be able to reach either one until I figure out which one I need. So I always take these and cut them on a really steep angle, like that. And I'm going to be cutting that off once I have it inside the tank. So start pushing it in. And if it doesn't have, if it's too tight of a fit, you can use an awl, you know, that's just about the right size, and just widen that hole up with a with an awl. So, but as long as I can reach it, I should be good. Maybe not. All right, I'm going to try to show you all a trick. Fishing line, right? Getting it back out of the tank might be a chore. Well, let's get the fishing line. Okay. What we're going to do is just tie back here, wrap it around a couple times, and tie this one fairly snug. Okay. Just to start. So now I can pull on it and it'll mostly come through. But then there's something called a half hitch knot. So, and if you want to look it up, it's half hitch. So you just take the string and you wrap it, just make a inverted loop, put the hose through it, and you'll know you have it when you tighten it up and you pull at a direction, it gets tighter. That's how you'll know you have it. So just make a couple of half hitch knots. And then the harder you pull, the tighter it squeezes. I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but it's really squeezing that, okay? And if I hadn't just pulled my string out, I would be pulling it through right now. But give me just a second. Okay, everybody's got fishing line, right? So anyway, so like I said, you pull on it, see how it's squeezing that line? Keep good tension on it, start pushing your line through there, and then pull your fishing line. And I'm feeding the line in at the exact same time. And you'll see it coming out the other side right here. Just keep tension on it. Pulls it right on through. So when I just get to the point where I can cut this part that I just finished working on off of here so that I have a fresh line. How many of y'all knew that one? Probably the majority of you, but just in case. So then just take my fuel filter and push it right there on here. Actually, I kind of like that other fuel filter better. This one here is weighted. So let's see, can I take, let me grab the hemostats and capture that real quick. I like the weighted line because it pulls the filter down to the bottom of the tank. It always goes to wherever the liquid is. Got that on there. Drop that down to the bottom. I'll pull this up just a little bit so that the filter is sitting down there in the bottom of the tank. Let's see, so if it went to that one, which is the furthest one away, okay, let's cut that there. This one's not long enough to reach that. So let's get another one. And actually for the return, I could use the bottom half of this line that I didn't want, you know, because it's got that crease in it. Cut this one at an angle. This one that we cut at an angle, we don't have to cut it back to straight again because it's just the return line. Okay, make sure that it's down in there. Okay, so one of these lines pulls up and the other one spits out. So let's hook up the lines where we think it's going to go. I think it probably goes this way. And I can use a vacuum gauge to find out. You know, just hook it up and let it start pulling. All right, let's just temporarily hook that up. And that one. Fill it up with gas, press the primer bulb and see what happens. I wanted to fill it all the way up to the spot where the lines were submerged so that I could make sure that I'm not leaking up here where I pushed all those through. All right. Now let's hit the primer bulb and see if it's pulling gas up from here or if it does anything. Yep, it's pulling fuel up. And it filled up the bowl, the primer bulb. Let's go ahead and get that cut to size. Take about that much off. And I think I would like to push. Which way does that filter go on there? Yeah, we're just going to push, twist this one out of the way just a little bit if we can. The return line, just so we can reach the primer bulb a little easier. Let's clean out this extremely good air filter. Hope y'all know I was kidding. Okay. Before we get too far, that screw right there, that's our idle adjustment. And then right here is our mixture adjustment, this brass colored one. So if for some reason we have to do any kind of tuning, we'll do it right there. Let's spin that off to the side a little bit more. I might change this hose out. Okay, what about now? All right, let's see. Press bulb fully 10 times. Do not squeeze the trigger. Pull rope quickly. All right. What I don't see on this is a choke. All right, let's try that again. All right, it says don't squeeze the trigger, but I'm going to do it. Let's see. I think we should take the carburetor back off and get a better look at it. Remember, I used a part from a different carburetor on here. And when I shut this screw off, it just shut down completely. So the idle speed is way up, and I want to see, usually there's an adjustment screw inside here, and I want to see if this has one. Well, it's got a bunch of gunk in there. All right, so if it's adjustable, it's not easy to get to. Well, I can see how it runs with this, putting this one back on, and if it runs good, then find a way to put a tube or something around this so that it fits tighter inside that hole. Let's try to do that, I guess. So loosen this back up all the way. I mean, there could be a difference in the orifice size. Something we could always do is take the rest of those carburetor pieces and put them in the ultrasonic cleaner or something like that, and then take the gaskets out of this carburetor and put them on there. All right, so we're just going to set this on here, but it's most likely going to fall out because it's the wrong size. Okay, O-ring is in there. What do y'all think? Place your bets. Was that the problem? Yep, that was the problem. She's running good now. but the cable fell right out as soon as I snapped this throttle the very first time. All right, well, we know what the problem is. So if I had to guess, I would say that the orifice that feeds into is probably a different size and it was flooding out. It's a guess. Okay. Now we just got to figure out a way to make this cable fit that hole and not fall out. Let's see, can I get, I thought I tried this earlier and it wouldn't work. Yeah, it doesn't really want to fit inside there. Let's see. Y'all give me a minute to look around, see what I can find. I don't really see a good way of pulling this off and putting it, you know, on there. I'm leaning towards finding something that'll go around this, you know, this little barb. Maybe even a piece of hose or something just to make it a little bit wider to make it grab. But as soon as I snapped that throttle, it came out and landed at an angle and kind of held it in that position because it was, you know, it was wedged in there kind of funny. So, yeah, let me a minute to look around. I'm wondering, can I, like, you know, feed something inside there that'll hold, that'll make it, you know, a smaller diameter. Yep, it's gonna take me a minute. All right, what do y'all think? So I found a little piece of fuel hose. It fits really tight in here. And then this fits inside that hose fairly easily. What if I put some glue on the end of this, some crazy glue, super glue, and put it into place, and then trim off the excess? Think it'll work? Maybe use some of this Q-bond that my buddy Paul told me about. It says you can use it on carburetors. It's kind of funny, but yeah, I mean, why not? I'm not sure that I'll have time to put the powder on it. The powder is like an accelerant for it. Maybe we can put the accelerant on it after. So I can keep from gluing my fingers in here. Okay, let's do that. And which one? The black powder is for hard plastics, blah, 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 blah. Aluminum, petrol, oil resistant, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Sure, why not? And I'll just trim up that hose and let's see if it works. Okay, so it's important to cut this inside one. Let's see. All right, that one's cut. How about this outside one? I mean, it seems to be stuck in there pretty good. Let's see, so through there, over the river, through the woods. Oh yeah, there we go. See it now? Fed right up in there. I think that might do it. Does seem like it's hitting. Throwing that edge. My gasket. All right, let's give it a try. I may have to do some trimming back here because it's really close. There is a choke. It's right there. How come I didn't see that? Okay, does the throttle still work? Oh yeah. All right, so throttle works. I need to label this choke. It doesn't look like it's anywhere on there. I wonder if there was a sticker up here at some time. Okay, what about now? All right, let's see. I'm gonna leave the choke off. There had to be a sticker here or something because it's kind of even covered. Anyway. All right, let's give it a little bit of choke, or half choke. All right. Let's give me just a little bit of throttle just to make sure that it runs. Whoops, I put the choke the wrong direction. Doggone it. Okay, so what you guys were witnessing was this throttle is getting stuck trying to pass by that gasket. Let's see. Actually, I just pushed on the gasket and I think it actually broke right there on that edge. We might have fixed it with brute force. This might be my idle mixture adjustment. Okay, well, what a mess. This should have been an easy repair. I self-induced for a lot of it. All right, let's get some string on this thing. Now, let's see. Actually, this thing's got quite a bit of line on it. But I have a feeling that it's stuck. All right, let's see. Yeah, I must say she's stuck. It's hung up on there. Tell you what, let's just go ahead and give her a new line. Let's see, it looks like it comes up through there, out of there. One string through there. One through there. There we go. I think my bump feed's ready to roll. Watch out for this blade right here that's supposed to cut the string for you right there. I think we're ready to give this thing a try. I think it is so crazy that this thing has a choke and it doesn't say anywhere on here to use the choke. And then looking right here, there's my choke lever. That is so wild. Okay, let's give it a try. Let's see. She's working and running good, but the bump head's not working. Let's go look at that. Yeah, I'm very happy with the way it ran. What I'm not happy with is the fact that the bump head didn't work. Okay. That retracts like it's supposed to. You know what? This string just got wound up really tight. I wonder if this thing takes a special type of string. Let's try it again. I don't see anything else that would have stopped it. Okay, so if I push it while it's turning, that should work, right? Push it while it's turning, that should work. Push it while it's turning, that should work. So the centrifugal force should be pulling this. That appears to work. Let's try that one more time. Go ahead and wind that back up. That might be a little bit too much. Maybe we'll start there. And short of the cutting blade, and so it would be just like if you were running low on string and you bump the head on it. Let's see if it works. So one last thing, let's sharpen up that blade. Yeah, that's pretty sharp. Now, if it's working properly, it should cut that off of there. All right, just a little bit on the long side. Yep, perfectly cut. Troy-Bilt TB425CS. Runs pretty good, even for a 4-cycle. Hope you all got something out of the video. Really appreciate you hanging out. I'll catch you on the next one.